Yep,
You got it?
it's recording. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So we may have a few producers on here right now, so you can just kind of get started.
Okay, great. So how familiar are you with the site? I'll probably do a overview of everything. Is there anything in particular that you want to go over a little more than others?
You know what we haven't tackled was some of the map options. I mean, we have Viz. So in Viz we can build our own maps and stuff too. I kind of wanted to explore the MGN maps just for maybe photographers if they want to put those into stories for reporters and stuff like that. But a overview would be great.
Okay, all right. So we'll do an overview of the site and then we'll go into VMO Pro and touch on that. All right, so looking up here at the top of the site, we have several different links. What we'll do is we'll start on the gallery link first. This is where you can get into the top stories, breaking news, our news journal, graphics, animations, photos, elements, motion photos, 3D photos, and favorites in your archives. So what the top stories are going to be, look at that first. Right here we have a link that says top story list. So every morning by 8:15 Pacific, we send out an email to all the affiliates to let you guys know what stories that we're going to cover for the day.
Can't see your screen.
Oh, hang on one second. No, hang on one second. There you go. Now you should see it. Got it? All right. So up at the top, I went ahead and clicked on the top story list. And so this is going to show you the stories that we're working on today. As the day goes on, if there's any breaking news, obviously we're going to shift our time over to that and cover that story. But what we'll do is we'll send this email out every morning, 8:15 Pacific, and it gives you an idea of what we're going to cover. That way, if there's anything on this list that you had planned on covering, you can shift your focus over to something else, knowing that we have it covered for you. To see the content that we're doing for the top stories, you can go into the galleries and you can click on top stories at the top. Now, right now, it's probably going to be blank or just have some photo placeholders, but this is where you're going to see the top stories generate throughout the morning. This is what a normal top storyboard is going to look like after the day is over. Slot number 1, 3, 6, and 7. These are going to be our animations and our motion photos. You can also tell that because it has a play button on all of them. We go ahead and click on this one on the basketball one. It was for the playoffs that we're covering. And this is just going to be an animation. With any of the content that we build, over here on the right side, you'll see the related images. We're going to have it all broken apart into different variations of what we use to build that animation. So this one here is going to be the intro title. The intro meaning that it's going to fly in. You're going to have the title on it, with the team titles. If we click on any of the other ones, this will be a loop untitled. So the ball is just going to keep on spinning. There's no title on it. This one here, loop titled, intro untitled. And so it's not going to have the team names on it. This one here is the intro title that we just saw. And then here is the still untitled. And then the still title. And then down below, we'll have other content related to it, some of the players, the logos that were used to build it. So that's pretty much with anything that we've put.
Downloading it, and then we just use it as we wish.
Yeah, use it as you wish. And so like, let's say, on this one, this is one I want to download. You have a few options. So this is going to be the graphic, the still. You can go ahead and download it in a 4:3 format. You can do the 16:9. And then you can also do the square. The square works for some items, but as you can see on this one, it's cutting off on the side, so you're not seeing the team names on it. But we had a request a few years ago where they wanted a square option. So it is there, but just remember, sometimes it is going to crop it off because we build everything to fit into a 4:3 and 16:9. When you go to download it, you go ahead and you can mouse over on the download button here. And this is going to give you the different aspect ratios that you can get. The other thing you can do too is if you want to see what the full screen looks like before you download it, you go ahead and hit the little piece of paper here. And this will go ahead and bring up the full screen graphic, and you can look at it, see what it's going to look like. Right here, you have a favorites button. This would be, it's a favorites gallery. So let's say that, you see something that you may want to use later, you don't want to download it right now, you can go ahead and click, the favorite heart, and it's going to add it to your favorites gallery. So you can go ahead and download it at a later time. The other thing you do too is if you're trying to go through the site and, one clean sweep and you're trying to look up content for several stories, you can go ahead and just hit the plus sign right here and then go ahead and select what size you want. And what that's going to do, it's going to add it down to your download list. And that will allow you to go through the site and add things to your download list. So rather than having to go through and download each individual image one at a time, you can add all of them to a list and then do one download to a zip file. So we'll build that list up a little bit and then I'll show you what it does. The other thing that we do, I'm not sure how much you'll use it in your market, but we also do at least 2 to 3 Spanish variations of our graphics. And you'll see that noted with the Mexican flag up here on the top left corner. Usually our Mexican slots are going to be, or Spanish slots are going to be 2, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So slot 8 right here. But obviously the Boston Marathon, there was no need to make that into a Spanish graphic. So there's no flag on it. But the way that works is if you want to go ahead and download the Spanish version, you go ahead and hit the Mexican flag. It's going to open it up with it translated. And then you can still see the original here, the Philadelphia mask lawsuit, but then you can click on this as well and go back to it.
Our marketing director, he's trying to log on. He's trying to get in right now. He said the host will let him.
Yep, there's a few people there. Let me go ahead and let them in.
Oh, cool.
We got Nick and Frankie and a couple other ones.
That's some people on it.
Okay, looks like they're all connecting right now.
Perfect.
So this will be the top stories. Now, another gallery that we're going to have is going to be the news journal. So if you want to see the content that's being put up throughout the day, it's going to show you in order with the newest being at the top. Now, I'm logged in as an admin, so you're not going to see this feature with these red borders. That just lets me know that the artists have put up content that's ready for QA. All you're going to see if you're to log in right now would be the 3 images of the cars down at the bottom. So just ignore, seeing the red at the top. But to give you an idea, we'll go ahead and go to yesterday's content. And in here, you can see everything that we had worked on and put up throughout the day. So this is another way just to, for a quick glance of the daily news stories of what we're doing, you can go to the news journal. You have breaking news here. The breaking news, anytime we have breaking news going on, we'll go ahead and associate that image as breaking news. We'll have a top breaking news scroll at the top where it's going to just keep scrolling through telling you what the breaking news is. You can click that or go to the galleries like I did. And then you'll be able to see the breaking news stories that we had put in there. So the last breaking news we had was on Friday with Liz Sheridan passing away. Then with the rest of the galleries, it's pretty self-explanatory. You have your graphics. So this is just going to be all the stills. So if we go ahead and go into here, you'll see the still for the basketball one that we were just looking at. Yesterday, we did one for Johnny Depp. But in addition to the still, you'll still see all the related content. So we had done a slideshow on them. So this just transitions through the photos that we have in the related images for a slideshow, and then it'll pop up with his name on the screen. Just like, go ahead.
Oh, I'm seeing like the MGN in the bottom right corner and then like a little font on the side. That I'm assuming that has to be on the screen.
Yeah, so that's the image credits. So anything that we create, like, looking at the graphic, you can see the MGN moniker down at the bottom. But the important thing is that we'll touch on is like with the images, you're going to see this is the image credit that we have put on here, and you can see it down here. So we got it from the Venice International Film Festival. And so that's the credit. It's to stay in compliance for the copyright that's associated with it. We need to keep the credits on there. We have it burned in onto the image. Through the years, we've gone through different variations where we would allow the users to remove the credits on the image. But what we notice is that when they remove it, sometimes they forget to include it in the story, or they don't write the credits as they're supposed to be, and then it creates a copyright case. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and just burned them into the image. That way it makes it, easier for you. So when you're putting the content up, that it's protected. We do know that, especially using Viz, that there's sometimes within the templates that you're putting the content in, that the credits are going to be cut off. In that situation, you need to make sure, if for whatever reason, if those credits are cut off, that you need to have the credits either put back on the image when you get it into Viz, or have it somewhere below the image on the story itself. And it needs to be written exactly how we have it. So in this case, for the Johnny Depp photo, you would just put 76 Venice International Film Festival, for their photo credit. Another thing that we need to stress is that don't add anything in like, via MGN, or put MGN / the photo credit. With this image, it's not that big of a deal. But when we get into content like this one here, where it came from Creative Commons, there's a lot of photographers that are going to put content up on Creative Commons, and they're looking for people to mess up and do the credits wrong, and then that's when they try to turn out and do a lawsuit on it. So in this situation, you would not want to put MGN / George Byard and then the license. You just need to put it exactly how we have it shown on the screen. And we also give the capability for you to go ahead and just hit the copy button to copy that text. And then you would go ahead and put that text back either below the image or on the image if you had to crop it. But we recommend not cropping it whenever possible. That way the photo is still in compliance with the license associated with it, and it doesn't break the license that they gave it. Do you have any questions on the credits? Okay. As far as the MGN credit, let me go back over to that. If that's cropped, it's not a big deal. I mean, we're putting that on there so you know where it came from. If the MGN's cropped off, we're not going to say anything. That's not a big deal. Most important credit is one that's over on the right side. That remains intact.
Yeah. If we take, say this Johnny Depp image and we put it in a monitor, which is like kind of an over the shoulder, it's acting as an over the shoulder for the anchor, you're not going to be able to see the credit.
You're not. So I can tell you, in the 8+ years that I've been here, all the cases that I've handled have been everything that's on the web. It's when it's displayed on the web and not being displayed property or the credits being cut off. We have never seen a case or handled a case where somebody saw something on TV with over the shoulder or even full screen and said, hey, here's a video clip and you can't see my credit. So that's an area that it's not a concern for us. The credit is on there, and that's all we have to worry about. When it's over the shoulder, we know you're not going to read it, especially if you get into this one here where it has all the credits. I mean, you can't even see that. So there's no way you're going to see it on over the shoulder, and it's not a big deal. We're not worried about that. Any other questions with it? The rest of the galleries, I'm not going to go into each one, but you have your animations, so you can go through, and what it does, it breaks apart everything for the type. And just remember, if you click on the animation here, you're going to see all the related content from the still, the entitled still, photos, anything that's used to build the content. It's going to be over here on the right side. So you have all the other the different galleries. Let's go ahead and add this one as a favorite real quick, and then we're going to add this to a download list as well. All right, hang on one second. There we go. All right, so over here, this is where you're going to access your favorites at. So if I go ahead and click on favorites, it's going to show you all the content that you've selected the heart on. So this is just saved for a later time. You want to download it. That way you're not worrying about downloading it to your system and trying to remember where you put it. You can just add it to your favorites and download it when you want to download it, so you don't have to search for it again. Right here you have My Archive. So what My Archive is, it's an area where anything that you've created within BMO Pro or have uploaded content to the system, it's going to save in your archive. Now, with you being part of a group, anything that the group creates in BMO Pro is gonna, if you save it that way, you can save it to your group archive so other stations in your group can see it. For your archive, only you can see it. Your group archive, just your group. So no other stations outside your group can see that content. So you don't need to worry about somebody else in another group using the content that you've created. So if we go ahead and go into, we'll just go into my archive real quick just to show you what it looks like. So right here at the top, you have some different links that you can do when you're in your archive. You can look at the image requests that you've put in. So if I click on my image requests, it should show the image requests. Okay, it's not, but if any image requests that your station has put in, if somebody else put a request in, you don't know where that content was that they requested, you can go in here to my image requests and you'll see the content that was made for your station specifically, and you can download it there. You can see the image requests that have been put in by your group, and then you have your archive. This would be any of the content that you've uploaded or created, and then same with my group archive. And then you also have my upload my image page. This would be as if you wanted to go ahead and upload image that your station took and you want to be able to use it in BMO Pro or use it at a later time. You can go ahead and upload the image using this upload form, and it'll go into your archive. We'll go ahead and go over to services. So right here is the image requests. It's going to auto-populate your station logon, so it's going to have your name, the email address. If you have somebody that's putting a request in, I recommend have them just put in their email address in here. That way, when it's ready, they'll get the email that it's been delivered. If they leave the default, whoever the default email is for the contact, that's who's going to get it. So we recommend putting in the email address of that user so they can get the notification about the request. Put in the phone number, so if our artist has to contact you. And then you have the drop down here that's going to show you have elements, graphics, photo. We're starting to work on the bands. So if you have one of those displays, we can go ahead and get, you can put a request in for that. You have your animations, your 3Ds, and your motion photos. Anything with the star next to it, we request 24 hours notice. So you don't want to put a request in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for your 5 o'clock broadcast and say, I need this animation in 2 hours, because it's going to be difficult for us to deliver it in that time frame. Anything else, you do have the capability of putting in different type of requests. So you can do a 24-hour, a 4-hour rush, an 8-hour rush, and then a please rush. Generally, a please rush would be something for breaking news. Something happened in your local market and you need something fairly quick, you can do a please rush. 4 hours, 8 hours, same thing. For 24 hours, I see stations use that a lot when they're trying to plan ahead for their story fill for the rest of the week, and just putting requests in with us. It could be anything from sports matchups to maybe a story you're going to cover next week and you want to have the content for it. So you're just going to put in the request. What will happen is once you get the request put in and send it, you're going to receive an email from us letting you know that the request has been submitted. When the artist begins working on it, they're going to shoot you an email to let you know that they began working on it. And then when it's complete, you'll get that final email that will have a link to download the content that you requested. There's no limit on the requests that you put in. You can put in as many as you want. We do ask that, if you have multiple requests that you want to do, just put them separately for us. It's easier for us to assign a request, as they come in versus a station putting in 5 different requests in one request email, because then it's harder to track all of them at one shot, because they're not going to all get done at one time. So just, do individual requests, as many as you want. And as far as the downloads too, those are unlimited as well. There's no limitation on how much content that you download. It's here for you to use as often as you need it.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got a quick question on the request. What if your requests involve multiple versions of one subject?
That'd be fine. Just go ahead and give us a good description within the request.
So it's one request with this one animated, this one monitor, this one.
Yeah, perfect. The example that I have is that there's a station down in New Orleans, and no matter how much we tried to train them and have them, help us out, they'll still put a request in once a week that has like 6 or 7 team matchups for the games that they have going on. And it's like, just do one for each game. It just makes it easier on both ends. But yeah, something like that, just put in there that, you need the animation, and generally if you put a request in for an animation, you're going to get all variations of it. You're going to get the animation, you're going to get the untitled, you're going to get the titled, you're going to get the still. It's all going to be packaged in the related content. But feel free to go ahead and put that information in there. I'd say, you can never give us enough information on what you want. Be as detailed as you need to. And if we have any questions, the artist will, pick up the phone and give you a call, and get everything hammered out for you. All right. So that's pretty much it that I'm going to go over on the image request. Over here on tools, you have another link for news journal. Same news journal we already looked at, but it's a news journal. We have an event calendar. You can see some of the stuff leading up through the month that we're going to go ahead and cover. You also have my usage, and that lets you know what's been downloaded. As a news director, you may want to look at it and see how your station's using the content. So it's not going to be very true, with me being logged in, but I'll kind of show you. So you click on my usage and you can go here for downloads, and it will show you everything that's been downloaded in the date range. And so from the first, these are the 3 things that I've downloaded that I played around with, but you can change the dates to, whatever date range, and you can see what's been downloaded. You can see what the image requests have been, and then again, you can get into your archive and access it that way. All right, so now we'll go ahead and hop into BMO Pro. All right, so this is a dashboard for BMO Pro. You have graphics, maps, and templates. Templates was something that we had a group request a couple years ago. We don't see it used a lot because, like, for you guys, you use Viz. So you're not going to use any of our templates that we have built in here, but we have cutout templates that you can do, like election matchups, police, reports, multiple things. You can go on and play with it. But we'll go ahead and hop into maps first. So we'll just go ahead and click on it. This will go ahead and take us into the builder. Just letting everything load. It's been a little slow for me. So what it may do is it's probably going to pop up one of the last ones that I made because I just left it sitting in there to stage it. So this is the basics of the maps. You have you can put in symbols. So you can see here that I have these little symbols for the car accidents. And you can, resize it to whatever you need. You can go ahead and turn them, if you need to turn them, and you can freely just move them across the screen. You have symbols here. Now, you'd be here a while if you keep on arrowing down. What I would recommend is if you're looking for, a particular symbol, let's say you're looking for a fire. Right now, because I am in the symbols tab, it's going to be searching for symbols right here at the top. So I'm just going to type in fire. And you can either replace a symbol if you have it selected, or you can just go ahead and add a new one. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. And for the heck of it, I'm just going to get these out of here. And so let's say, here's a map. This is the, where the fire is located. Another thing you can do too is that we can go ahead and go into drop this down, and I'm going to go into my photo archive. I'm going to search for fire again. And I'm just going to select any image just to show you what you can do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and just size it down a little bit. And then I'm going to click off of it so the anchor points are no longer selected on it. And then I'm going to go over here to drawing shapes, select the square. And then I'm going to go ahead and send this to back. Now, I'll tell you, I'm not an artist, so don't judge me how it looks, but And just to give you, an idea of what you can do to play with it. The other thing to do too is I'm gonna go ahead and select on the background again. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a shadow on it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and send it to back again. And so now you got, it gives you some 3D definition, with the shadow of the background with the photo on top of it. Same thing, when you're doing text. You have your text area. You have, several different fonts that we have loaded in here. You can select your font, type it out, and then, you can throw your background on it. And with the background, let me go ahead and go back over to here real quick. And go here, let's see. I'm going to bring this down a tad. Oops, hang on. Select this one. Bring the transparency down a little bit. There. So you can actually see through the map a little bit. So there's different things you can do to the map. The other thing that you have the capability of is right here. Click off of it. You'd be able to, when you click here, you're going to go ahead and load your own content. So let's say you have a photo of an accident scene. You have a reporter that's out there, they've sent you a photo. You can load that photo up into the builder and then add it to the map. As far as the map itself, there's some different options that you have. I had this load up automatically from a previous story, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to background. I'm going to do adjust map background just so you can see this is what it would look like when you first get into it. You're going to go ahead and you can either zoom in and select, what area that you want to look at. Another thing you do is what's your zip code there?
70125.
70125.
Yes. And do you have like a satellite view for maps, or is that the only?
Yep, sure do. All right, so here's this. I'm going to go ahead here. I want to get rid of that green area. It's not going away for me. We'll just go out. That's fine. So right here, under where it says road, here's your satellite view.
Oh, cool.
And it zooms in pretty tight on it. So you can do a search by doing, so there. So I hit the search and I got rid of that shaded green. You can go ahead and do the search by zip code. You can do it by city, by state, by country, whatever's easier for you, just type it in for the search. And then down here, if you want to map a route out, you can go ahead and say, from one address to another, and it's going to show you a map route that you can use. So let's say, you had a parade route or, something like that, you can type that in there. The other option that we have is map animations. So the builder does not have the capability to do like a Google Earth fly-in. But if that's something that you need, you go ahead and put in a request for it. And in the request screen, you would just put in, what your point A is, what your point B is, and then, any details that you need to provide to us. And then
how long does a map animation request take to turn around?
So anything with the like animations, we always say 24 hours. So like down here, it says, 24-hour notice. But what we try to do, so you understand, is that we have requests that come in through the day. We're never, really inundated where there's so many that we can't take care of. But we're working on their top stories until about 12:30 or 1 o'clock Pacific. After that, unless it's a rush request for, anything else, we're working on the top story content. And then in the afternoon, we're getting all the requests taken care of. The art department is really good about trying to get these knocked out, any requests knocked out that day before they leave. We don't like having things carry over to the next day. We want to get you your requests as soon as possible. Now, exceptions to that is the office closes at 4 p.m. Pacific. So if you put in a request at 3:30, it's going to be a little tight to get something done. But with the animations, it does take a little more time. So if you know that you're going to need any type of animation where it's a graphic or the fly-in, try to get it in the morning that we can get it knocked out for you that day. As far as our hours of operation, we're open from 7:30 until 4 p.m. Pacific. During the weekends, we have an on-duty artist for breaking news that we may have to cover or any rush requests that come in from our affiliates. If it's, something that says, you need it in 24 hours and it's on a Sunday, we'll work on it on Monday morning, when we get in. If there's a breaking news story that happens during the evening once we're closed, one of us are going to be hopping on, one of the artists are going to be hopping on to take care of the breaking news. If it's a national breaking news story, we're going to be doing some type of coverage on it to get it held over till the morning, till we go more in depth with the coverage for that story. If you have a breaking news story that happens during the evening, feel free to go ahead and get the request in. And we'll look at it and see if we can get that turned around for you that evening. So it's not holding up, till that next day. So with the maps, so let's go, let me go ahead and go back into the screen. So now I just went ahead and selected the one, the aerial shot that I did. So let's say, you're done building what you have. So what you're going to do down here is you're going to go ahead and do save. And I'm just going to call this map test. That way it saves the work. And if you're building a pretty extensive map, I recommend, doing save periodically. That way you don't lose your work. If your computer loses a connection, something happens, you don't want to have to start over again. So you can save as you're going through your work. So it's saved. Now I want to go ahead and export it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit export. And here, I'm just going to do this type of minutes. We have something in it. Okay, this is where you have the option if, what you created, do you want your group to be able to see it? If so, you would go ahead and select that. If you just want for your station, just leave it unchecked. Throw a category on it. Then I'll hit submit. And so now it's been exported over your archive. You have a few ways to get to it. You can either just click right here to go to your archive, but if you want to go to it at a later time, you can go to your drop down, go into my archive. And here's the content right here. If there's an image associated with it, it's kind of hard to see on here because the way the background, but we will go ahead and have the proper credits associated and put on the image for you. That way you don't have to sit there and worry about doing it yourself. We will have the credits put on the image from VMO. Another thing we do too, that's a pretty cool tool, is I'm gonna go back into VMO. Let's say that you had a map that you spent some time on, it looks good, and you want to use it every morning for your your morning traffic, but you don't want to have to recreate from scratch. You can just go down here to my work, and here's a list of all the content that you've created. And so you have a few things that you can do. You can either just open the project itself, but if you open the project itself, anything you change on it is going to change, that master project. You have an option right here where it's copy project. So it's going to take the map that you did and make a new copy of it. So the first one you did still going to remain intact. And now this one here is going to be one that you can play with and change and save, and you're not going to destroy the first one that you made. And that would be the same thing for, when you're in graphics. So the difference between the graphics builder and the map builder is obviously just the map. Everything else, as far as, doing graphics, you're going to pick your background and pick, your content, your text, photos that you want to have on it, and go from there. But everything works the same as far as saving, exporting, and then going back in and reusing that content if you want to reuse it. We can go into graphics just so you can see the look of it. And so, it just goes through the step process. Your step one is going to be your background, whatever, your background is. Now, when you see things preload over here on the left, it's just showing the newest content that we have in the database. So this is always going to be changing as we add content to the system. Up here, you can search for, a background that you want to do. Let's say, we're just going to look for fire. And you go ahead and click the content that you want. It puts it on the background. And then, the next thing you can do, your text, symbols, shapes, drawing tools, whatever you want to do. And you just go ahead and build the content that way. You guys have any questions on any of that?
No, it actually seems pretty user friendly.
It is. We tried to do it to where, anybody can go in there. We looked at it as the aspect of, let's say you have your weekend assignment personnel and you have a story that's come out. They can hop in, anybody can hop in here and, pump out a quick graphic to tell the story that you're working on. And it's pretty self-explanatory and very easy to use.
Yeah, no, this is good. This is really helpful. I know the producers will appreciate this.
The other thing, let me show you this. So you can kind of see how we have like a shadow box on the top and bottom. This is so you can see the 16:9 aspect ratio. That way, you want to stay within this box. That way, if you switch over to 4:3, depending on if you 16:9 or 4:3, if you keep within the shaded area, you can go over to the 4:3, and you're not gonna have, or the 16:9, you're not gonna have anything cut off. So if I'm on 4:3, yeah, it's a real nice full screen. But if you have some words down here at the bottom, if you go ahead and switch over to 16:9, those words are going to be cut off and you're not going to see it. So we just kind of have that shadow box there to give you an idea the area that you want to stay in, and that box will not appear when you save your work. That's just within the builder itself. So that's really all all I have. Let's see if there's anything else over here in the top left corner. You have a way of toggling the site. So right now I have the bright view. I know in the newsrooms sometimes that's a little darker, and you don't want to have all this bright light hitting you. You can go ahead and toggle this, and it's going to switch it over to dark mode. So it makes it a little easier on your eyes when you're on the website with the newsroom.
Just one thing. Where did you click again to where you can put text? The screen you're on. What drop down menu did you click to get to this point?
Yep. So it starts off right here at background, and so I went ahead and I searched the background and selected it. And then down here below that are your different steps where you can have the text.
And it's just all under the build my own graphics up at the top.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's going to be under tools.
Under tools, perfect.
And then BMO Pro.
Okay, good deal. All right, good. No, this is great.
Okay, great.
All right, and if producers pop up with any questions, can we shoot you an email or?
Oh, absolutely. If you guys have any questions, you have my email address. Shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to hop on a call. I'd be happy to if you guys run into a snag and you have a question, we can hop onto a quick Zoom session. I want to be here to help you guys out with anything that you may need.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy it, and reach out if you need anything.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.